You know that feeling when you think someone is your rock, your anchor in life? That's how I felt about Chris. We grew up together, shared everything, and he was always there to cheer me on, especially when I decided to become a freelance photographer. He used to tell me, "Ethan, you have something special, a vision no one else has." And I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was my best friend. But what I didn't know then was that behind every failure, every rejection, every missed opportunity in my career, there was one common thread. Chris. It all started with small things at first. A client would back out of a project last minute. A gallery would reject my portfolio without explanation. Even Sarah, a renowned photographer who could have been my mentor, dismissed me after our initial meeting. Each time, Chris was there to console me. "These things happen," he'd say. "It's just bad luck. You'll get your break soon." And I trusted him. I trusted him so much that I never questioned why these things kept happening to me. Then, one day, everything changed. It was completely by accident. I was helping Chris clean out his apartment while he was away on a work trip. Between boxes of old clothes and dusty books, I found a black notebook hidden under a pile of junk. I don't know what made me open it. Maybe curiosity got the better of me, or maybe it was fate. But as soon as I flipped through the pages, my blood ran cold. Every single page detailed how Chris had sabotaged me over the years. Dates, names, events, he documented it all. There were entries about how he spread false rumors about me to influential photographers. How he convinced Sarah not to take me on as her mentee by fabricating stories about my supposed lack of professionalism. Worst of all, he admitted to stealing some of my best creative ideas and passing them off as his own to other photographers, ensuring they got all the credit. By the time I reached the last page, I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. How could he do this? How could someone I called a brother betray me like this? At first, I wanted to confront him. I imagined screaming at him, demanding answers, maybe even punching him. But then I realized something. Confronting him would only solve half the problem. He'd find a way to worm his way out of it, just like he always did. No, I needed something more calculated, something that would hit him where it hurt the most. I decided to give him the perfect revenge. The first step was pretending nothing had changed. I acted like I still trusted him completely. We went to coffee shops, talked about new projects, and I even asked for his opinion on some photos I'd taken recently. He loved it, of course. His arrogance blinded him to any suspicion. Meanwhile, I started rebuilding my career on my own. I reached out to Sarah again, this time with a fresh portfolio and a heartfelt letter explaining that I wanted a second chance. To my surprise, she agreed. Working with her was transformative. Not only did I learn advanced photography techniques, but I also learned to value my own work and trust my talent. With Sarah's support, I organized an exhibition called Fragments of Reality. It was a deeply personal project, inspired by the raw emotions I experienced after discovering the truth about Chris. Each photo captured nuances of betrayal, pain, and resilience. The exhibition was an instant success. Art galleries and magazines began reaching out to me, and my name started circulating in international circuits. Chris, of course, tried to latch on to my success too. He showed up at the exhibition opening, wearing his usual fake smile. "Amazing, Ethan," he said, patting me on the back. "You've really outdone yourself." But I knew he was seething inside. He had missed the chance to steal this moment from me. Now it was time to execute the second phase of my plan. I planted fake evidence, suggesting that Chris had leaked the photos from the exhibition online before the official launch. Using a fake email account and a fabricated identity, I created the illusion that he was trying to sabotage my success once again. When the scandal broke, everyone turned their eyes to him. Photographers, galleries, and even clients began questioning his integrity. Within days, Chris was ostracized from several professional circles. Chris panicked. He knew he was being framed, but had no way to prove his innocence. He tried calling me multiple times, but I ignored his calls. Finally, he showed up at my apartment, begging for help. "Ethan, please," he said, his voice trembling. "Someone's trying to destroy me. You know I'm innocent, right?" I stared at him for a long moment before responding. "Yes, I know you're innocent." This time, his eyes widened. "What are you talking about?" I pulled the journal out from under the table and placed it in front of him. His face went pale as he recognized the black notebook. "Do you remember this?" I asked calmly. He stammered, trying to come up with some excuse, but I cut him off. "You had 5 years to betray me, Chris. 5 years to steal my ideas, my opportunities, and even my trust. Now it's my turn." I gave him 2 options: write a public letter admitting all his betrayals, or face the consequences alone. He hesitated for a moment, but knew he had no choice. That night, he signed the letter, promising never to contact me or anyone related to the world of photography again. Months later, my career is stronger than ever. My photos are exhibited in galleries around the world, and I finally feel like I've earned the respect I deserve. But the real victory wasn't just defeating Chris. It was learning to trust myself and realizing that my worth doesn't depend on others' approval. Sometimes I think about Chris. I wonder what his life is like now, isolated and purposeless. But I don't feel sorry for him. He made his choices, and I made mine. In the end, the revenge wasn't about destroying him. It was about freeing myself. Looking back, I realized that finding that journal was both the worst and best thing that ever happened to me. It shattered my illusions about friendship and loyalty, but it also forced me to grow. I stopped relying on others to validate my dreams and started believing in myself. And isn't that what true success is all about? So here I am today, sipping coffee in my studio, looking at the photos hanging on my walls. They're not just images. They're reminders of how far I've come, of the pain I endured, and the strength I found within myself. And if there's one lesson I've learned, it's this: sometimes the greatest revenge isn't tearing someone down, it's building yourself up. But let me take you back to the beginning, because the story isn't complete without the details. Let me walk you through every step, every emotion, every twist and turn that led me here. Growing up, Chris and I were inseparable. We shared everything: our secrets, our dreams, even our failures. When I decided to pursue photography as a career, he was the first to encourage me. "You've got this, Ethan," he'd say. "Your work speaks for itself." And for a while, I believed him. But as the years went by, I started noticing patterns I couldn't ignore. Take Sarah, for example. She was a legend in the photography world, known for mentoring young talents who went on to achieve greatness. When I first met her, I was ecstatic. I thought I had finally found someone who could guide me, who could help me navigate the complexities of the industry. But after our initial meeting, she abruptly cut ties with me. At the time, I chalked it up to bad luck. It wasn't until I read Chris's journal that I discovered the truth. He had told her lies about me, lies so damaging that she refused to work with me, lies that cost me years of potential growth and success. And then there were the competitions. I entered countless contests, pouring my heart and soul into each submission. Yet, time and time again, I came up short. Chris would console me, saying, "Don't worry, Ethan. Your time will come." What I didn't know was that he was submitting my ideas to other photographers, ideas he claimed as his own. Those same ideas won awards and accolades, but they were never credited to me. Instead, they became stepping stones for others while I was left behind. Even worse were the personal betrayals. Chris knew my weaknesses, my insecurities. He exploited them whenever it suited him. He'd plant doubts in my mind, convincing me that I wasn't good enough, that I should settle for less. For years, I listened to him, believing his words because I thought he had my best interests at heart. But the journal revealed the truth. He didn't want me to succeed. He wanted me to stay exactly where I was, small, insignificant, and easy to manipulate. Finding the journal was like waking up from a nightmare. Suddenly, everything made sense. The rejections, the missed opportunities, the constant self-doubt. It wasn't just bad luck. It was Chris. He had orchestrated it all, piece by piece, year by year. And the worst part? He had done it with a smile on his face, pretending to be my biggest supporter. When I first read the journal, I felt a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, betrayal. But above all, I felt clarity. For the first time in years, I saw Chris for who he truly was. And I knew I couldn't let him get away with it. Not this time. Planning my revenge wasn't easy. I had to be smart, strategic, and patient. The first step was maintaining the illusion of normalcy. If Chris suspected anything, he'd shut me out completely. So I played along, acting like nothing had changed. We hung out, talked about photography, and discussed future projects. He had no idea that I was biding my time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. In the meantime, I focused on rebuilding my career. I reached out to Sarah again, this time with a renewed sense of purpose. I explained that I understood if she didn't want to work with me after our previous encounter, but I hoped she'd give me another chance. To my surprise, she agreed. Over the next few months, she taught me invaluable lessons, not just about photography, but about perseverance, creativity, and self-belief. Under her guidance, I honed my skills and developed a style that was uniquely mine. With Sarah's help, I organized the exhibition Fragments of Reality. It was more than just a collection of photos. It was a reflection of my journey, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Each image told a story, capturing moments of vulnerability, strength, and transformation. When the exhibition opened, it was met with overwhelming praise. Critics called it groundbreaking, emotional, and a testament to human resilience. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was truly being seen. Chris, of course, couldn't resist inserting himself into the spotlight. He showed up at the opening night, shaking hands and congratulating me like he had always been my biggest fan. "This is incredible, Ethan," he said, flashing his trademark grin. "You've really outdone yourself." But I could see the envy in his eyes. He hated that I had achieved something he couldn't touch, something he couldn't take credit for. That's when I set the final stage of my plan into motion. Using a fake email account, I sent messages to key figures in the photography community, claiming that Chris had leaked the exhibition photos online before the official launch. I included screenshots and documents to make it look legitimate. Within hours, the story spread like wildfire. Galleries canceled collaborations with him. Clients severed ties. Even his colleagues distanced themselves, unwilling to associate with someone accused of such unethical behavior. Chris was devastated. He tried reaching out to everyone he knew, pleading his innocence, but no one believed him. Eventually, he came to me, desperate for help. "Ethan, please," he begged. "You have to believe me. I didn't do this." I looked him straight in the eye and said, "I do believe you." This time, confusion flickered across his face. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out the journal and placed it on the table between us. His expression shifted from confusion to horror as he recognized it. "Where did you get that?" he whispered. "It doesn't matter where I got it," I replied. "What matters is what's inside." 5 years, Chris. 5 years of lies, manipulation, and betrayal. Did you really think I'd never find out? He tried to deny it, of course. He stammered and stumbled over his words, insisting that the journal was a misunderstanding, that he had only written those things out of frustration. But I wasn't buying it. Not anymore. I'm giving you 2 options, I said firmly. Option 1. You write a public apology, admitting everything you've done to me. You admit to sabotaging my career, stealing my ideas, and spreading lies about me. Option 2. You face the consequences alone. Your choice. Chris hesitated, but deep down, he knew he had no other option. That night, he wrote the letter, signing it with trembling hands. He promised never to contact me or anyone in the photography community again. And just like that, it was over. Now, as I sit here reflecting on everything that's happened, I can't help but feel a sense of peace. The anger I once felt toward Chris has faded, replaced by gratitude for the lessons I've learned, the strength I've gained, and the person I've become. Finding that journal was painful, yes, but it was also liberating. It forced me to confront the truth, to take control of my life, and to stop letting others dictate my worth. Today, I'm happier and more successful than I ever thought possible. My photos are displayed in galleries around the world, and I've built a reputation as a visionary artist. But more importantly, I've learned to trust myself. I've learned that my value isn't determined by external validation. It comes from within. As for Chris, I rarely think about him anymore. Occasionally, I wonder how he's doing, whether he's found a new path or if he's still stuck in the mess he created. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. He made his choices, and I made mine. And in the end, that's all that counts. So, here's the takeaway. Revenge isn't about destruction. It's about empowerment. It's about taking back what was stolen from you and using it to build something greater. Because the greatest revenge of all isn't tearing someone else down. It's rising above, proving them wrong, and becoming the best version of yourself. And that, my friends, is exactly what I did. But let me elaborate further, because the story deserves every detail. Let me tell you about the moments that shaped me, the challenges I faced, and the victories I earned along the way. When I first started working with Sarah, I was nervous. I didn't want to disappoint her again. But she saw something in me, something I hadn't seen in myself. She pushed me to experiment, to take risks, and to embrace imperfection. Photography isn't just about capturing beauty, she told me. It's about telling a story. It's about making people feel something. Her words resonated with me, and I began to approach my work differently. I stopped chasing perfection and started focusing on authenticity. I poured my emotions into every shot, every composition, every edit. And slowly but surely, my style evolved. A turning point came when I decided to create fragments of reality. I wanted the exhibition to be more than just a showcase of my technical skills. I wanted it to be a reflection of my journey, a visual diary of sorts. I spent months curating the collection, selecting photos that represented different stages of my life. Some were joyful, capturing moments of triumph and connection. Others were raw and unfiltered, depicting pain and struggle. Together, they formed a narrative, a story of resilience, growth, and self-discovery. When the exhibition opened, I was overwhelmed by the response. People didn't just admire the photos. They connected with them. They saw themselves in the images, in the emotions they evoked. Critics praised the exhibition for its honesty and depth, and word quickly spread throughout the industry. Offers poured in: collaborations, commissions, interviews. For the first time, I felt like I was being recognized, not just for my talent, but for my perspective, my voice. Chris's downfall was almost poetic. The fake evidence I planted was meticulous. leaving no room for doubt. Emails, timestamps, even fabricated witness accounts, all pointed directly to him. Within days, his reputation crumbled. Galleries dropped him. Clients refused to work with him. Even his closest friends turned their backs on him. Watching it unfold was surreal. Part of me felt guilty, knowing I had orchestrated his ruin. But another part of me felt vindicated, knowing he was finally being held accountable for his actions. When he came to me, desperate and broken, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. But then I remembered the years of pain he had caused me, the sleepless nights, the missed opportunities, the constant self-doubt. And I knew I had made the right decision. After everything settled, I took some time to reflect. I realized that revenge wasn't the ultimate goal. It was a means to an end, a way to reclaim my power, my dignity, and my sense of self-worth. The real victory was the person I became in the process. I learned to trust myself, to stand up for myself, and to believe in my own potential. And that, more than anything, is what I'm most proud of. So here's the full story, from the betrayal to the redemption, from the pain to the triumph. It's a reminder that life is unpredictable, that people aren't always who they seem, and that sometimes the hardest battles lead to the greatest victories. And if you're ever betrayed, remember this: the best revenge isn't tearing someone else down. It's building yourself up. Because in the end, the only person you need to prove anything to is yourself.